Hey there, it's Joel coming at from Planet Scooby, and this is my video on 3 Scooby-Doo items that mean the most to me. And it's a video I wanted to do for a while, and I had a hard time doing it. I'll get into that. And if you're normally watching my videos, you're probably used to me as Professor Joel and I have the wig on. I'm not doing that today. Multitude of reasons. One being my wig. It's getting a little ratty. You might notice me looking off into the corner. I keep looking at my wig because I see it moving out of the corner of my eye. It's starting to freak me out. I've had that wig for 15 years and it's seen some abuse because usually when I'm done a video, I take off my lab coat, I take off the wig, and I just toss it in the corner like some waste paper. And yeah, I think it's plotting against me. I have to get a new wig. There's just no wigs out there that are reasonably priced. That one, it was like a $10 wig. Now wigs are like $100. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. Another reason why I just want to come at you is, Joel, I was gonna get personal about stuff, and I felt silly wearing a wig. And the third reason is that, yeah, I've been trying to make this video for a long time, and not just this video, just other videos other than reviews. When I hit 500 subscribers, I just kind of wanted to expand a bit, do an alternate video, maybe once a month about something related to Scooby like this. And I was going to start doing that this year, but I've had a rough year. And yeah, I'm going to get personal, and I'm going to kind of breeze through it. I won't talk too long. If you're kind of interested in it, good. If you're not, just click away. I won't take offense. I don't really expect anyone to watch this. It's just I'm processing stuff, so I'm just doing this video more for myself. So I'll just get off right off the bat. What happened? Why was I kind of distracted? Well, in December, it was like December 16th, my dad went into the hospital. He was 85 years old, really dizzy. He was kind of hallucinating a bit. And we found out he had a kidney infection and, he had to go to the hospital. And it was just right around the time the lockdown in Canada for COVID hit. So no one could get in to see him other than my mom. And my mom's 81. My dad's 85. I won't keep you in suspense either. My dad, he passed away last month. And I'm just kind of telling that story of why this has been tough for me, and I haven't been doing anything other than reviews. So yeah, he passed away, but he went in December, and COVID lockdown hit, and he was in the hallway, like just in the hallway, because there's so many people in the hospital for COVID. He was just in a hallway for a month, and it sucked, and only my mom could get in to see him. My family took turns driving my mom. My mom doesn't drive. So, we'd drive her, and we'd wait in the parking lot for 2 hours in the winter, and it's not a big deal, but it just sucked. You couldn't, your father's like just over there, and you can't even go in to see him. When he wasn't in the hallway, he'd just be shifted to different rooms, and it confused him, and they put him on all these medications. He was also neglected. Like, people with COVID got priority, and maybe if he didn't go in with COVID, things would be changed, but what can you do? Like, my situation, unfortunately, it's the norm. A lot of people went through this situation. It sucks. It really sucked. And I have a subconscious, that I'm aware of, and it's always processing things. And because it's always just I might have been thinking about work or whatever, but my subconscious was just thinking about my dad, and I couldn't focus on anything. All of December, I get like a Christmas break from work, and I was planning on doing stuff, just doing a video every day and just putting it out once a month, like in the future. That wasn't reviews, and I couldn't do anything. I could barely watch TV. I couldn't watch movies. I could watch this show. This basically kept me sane. It was the DVD set of The Twilight Zone. I recommend this. This is like 25 discs of every episode from these classic Twilight Zone episodes. So this kept me sane. This just kind of, they're short enough. They're cool enough. They're, if you want to get deep into them, it's an amazing series to watch, and it was cheap. It was like $25. I remember I was trying to buy these DVDs, like when DVDs first came out, and they're asking like $70 per season. So to get all this for $25, just amazing. I'm gonna weave in and out of things too. Just bear with me if you want to pay attention. If you don't, click away. So yeah, my dad, hospital, in the hallway or in different rooms, and he was neglected. And February, we just like, this is enough. We got to get him out of here. So we put him in a long care home. when they brought him in, he was kind of, he wasn't the greatest. And they dropped him, and he hit his head going in to that place, and he didn't really recover from that very well. He was doing okay, though. I mean, still my dad. You could still have a conversation with him. So it was about February 26th I could actually get down to see him. I'd visit him once a week since then that I could, but there were, restrictions. There was a COVID outbreak like 2 weeks later, and then we couldn't see him for 3 weeks. But fortunately, second weekend they let my mom in. She was allowed to go in, so it was the same kind of situation. And then eventually everyone could get in to see him because he was just really deteriorating. He needed his family around him. And we were the only one in that ward that could see him, like their family. Like the other people couldn't see their grandparents or their loved ones, but we were allowed because they could see, he was just falling so hard, like health-wise. So we get in to see him, but the COVID hit him really hard. For the month that I could see him, like during that period, and we'd have to suit up in like hazmat suits, basically, you had face plates and mouth gear and gloves and a gown and booties and all sorts of stuff, and you'd have to sanitize your hand every 5 seconds, and it was a lot of rules, and we did it, and you're just sweating in this room because you're wrapped in saran wrap, basically, and we did it, and we just treated him like he was sleeping, and he was just listening in as we talked, and he'd sometimes wake up and just chip in about something and then go back to bed. It was really cool. It sucked, but we had hope that he would get better. And then he did get a bit better. April and May, we could talk to him again, and we'd have full conversations. And but yeah, he just didn't have enough strength to really pull through. And then end of May, I get a phone call from my mom saying, you got to get down here. Come down at this time. Come down at 6. Come down after your shift because only a couple people are allowed into the room at one time. So if you come down now, there's just no point. You just finish off your... I work, so she's just like, finish off your shift and then come down at 6 and stay with me till 10, and then your brother's going to come. And she's saying this because my dad, they didn't think he was going to make it through the night. They put him on morphine, and that just basically knocks you out, and you're just in la la land, right? And they weren't going to feed him anymore. They weren't going to allow him water. It was just his time because... his lungs were infected. He had a bad lung infection from aspirating food over time. I'm freaking out. I can barely finish my shift. I'm working from home, but it's just doing my best to do what I had to do. And then I get on the highway, and I can't get on the highway because they were doing construction on the highway for maintenance. I don't even know what they did, but they closed the highway for like 4 days. So what normally took me 20 minutes, it took like an hour and 45 minutes because I'm dealing with rush hour and construction. Like, there's a joke in Canada, you have 2 seasons. You have winter and construction season, and that's just how it was. So I'm just like freaking out, hoping I made it down there in time. But he ended up lasting 5 days, and then May 31st, like 10:45 p.m., just after I left and my brother came in, he passed away. And it sucked. And we just did the funeral yesterday, and I think that's why I can finally do this video. It's like, the funeral, even though I thought it would offer closure or finality, it didn't. It really didn't. I guess it helped in a way because I can do this video, but funerals are rough. We had a little celebration for him. The funeral was meant as a celebration, so we had a celebration for him. It's a month after he passed. But yeah, this past 6 months, my final point I'm getting at, 10 minutes into my video, is I've been really distracted. That's the only thing that's been on my mind. And it's still on my mind, but I can finally do Scooby-Doo videos that I kind of wanted to do. Not as much as I wanted to do, but I can finally do this one. Anyway, let's get into these personal items. They kind of connect. Everything's kind of going to connect here, I guess. If it doesn't, just pretend it does. So my first favorite item, it's this Scooby-Doo stuffed animal. I bought this 1996 Canada's Wonderland. I turned 19. My best friend at the time, who I had in high school, his name was Mark. But we went to Wonderland. It's called, I guess you have Labor Day in the States. Yeah, it was Labor Day. We went Labor Day weekend on a Monday, and I was starting university the next day. I bought this. I can remember everything about that day. And then I brought it to university the next day. It's like my first day of university. It's kind of a big deal. I didn't know what to expect. And I just bring them with me. My other friend, I guess she was, if I had a girl best friend, that was my girl best friend at the time. She was my best friend. Her name was Christy. We decided to take some courses together. She was in a different program than me. I forget what program. I think she was in humanities. And I was in commerce, which is business. And I was doing a minor in psych. I wasn't doing psych at the time other than introduction, and your first year is just introduction to everything. So yeah, she drove me down and she didn't even question that I had Scooby-Doo with me. She just, oh, that's cool. And then I just kept bringing Scooby like every day. Like I went to university for 4 years. I just kept bringing Scooby-Doo with me. So why did I carry around a Scooby-Doo? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. There's probably tons of reasons why. I think one, it just made people smile. How can you not smile when you see Scooby-Doo, right? Another reason, maybe just something that comforted me, like going to university. It's just weird. It's a big life change, you're grown up, even though you're not. When you're 19, 20 going to university, you're not really grown up, but you think you are. Maybe I was stressed out and this was like my comfort dog. Like people have real comfort dogs now, security dogs. Maybe this was that to me. Maybe it was just conversation starter. Maybe it was just, I don't know. I just did. And then I stopped one day because he was getting a little beat up. He's looking a little ratty too. His nose, you can tell it's kind of worn out. So yeah, I did that for 4 years. That's why it means a lot to me. It just reminds me of good times, just good parties I went to, good concerts, good friends. It was a good time. And maybe one day I'll pick up Scooby-Doo again and start carrying him around. I don't know. Second item, it's a coloring book. Yeah, coloring book. And why is this super important to me? Well, after university, I did some things and then I went to teacher's college. I bought this just going into teacher's college. And I bought it because my classes were really boring. I wasn't really into the thing that the teachers, they treated like, they were high school teachers, but they treated like you were in high school. They didn't treat you as peers. And I just remember going to one class one day and we had a debate. There was like we had a debate why apples were different from oranges. We talked about that for an hour, 45 minutes. And it was just super boring. And like, we're there to learn how to teach. And why were we talking about apples and oranges? And another day we had to find out, like we did a quiz on what our color was. And if you're like gold, this meant you were this kind of person. And then we shared and discussed if this test was right. And it's a joke. And you're paying a lot of money to do this teaching college thing. And like, I think I was paying like $8,000 and we didn't learn anything. And you learn the most when so you do your work placement and that's where you learn everything. But in the meantime, you have to go to these classes during your work placement. And it was just, yeah. So I bought this coloring book, just something to do. And then I started passing it around the room and other people would color in it. And it was cool. It was cool because then when people color in your coloring book and they write their name and the date, you have like a memory. You have that moment in time captured forever. And then I carried it through my life. So for about 15 years, I was a part-time high school teacher. So I did it, we did substitute teaching, right? And that kind of works is like you get a call at 6 a.m. and they tell you get like a robocall or like, if you want to teach at this time at this school, please hit 1. So I was doing that during the day. And sometimes you get one call a week. Sometimes you do it for like a solid week. Sometimes you go months without doing it. And then at night, I was a bartender, and then eventually I got promoted up to bar manager and wine sommelier. And I did that at the club I was dishwashing at in high school and part of university. So I was bartender at night and then college teacher per day. And then because my life was super social, I was living with roommates. I was living people with that I worked with at the golf club, and we just kind of had like a party mentality. Not to say we're partying hard like Wayne and Garth, but our life was just pizza and movies, and it's just so much time spent with one another because we'd work 16-hour shifts sometimes 18-hour shifts, and then we just go for like long walks. Like a whole gang of us, like the Scooby-Doo gang. We'd like look at creepy things because you get off work at 2 and you're just so wired up from working long shifts and just dealing with people, and you'd work weddings. So we just kind of push ourselves. And then, yeah, everyone I met during that 15 years, I get them to color. Not everyone, but everyone who is a friend with, right? I get them to color in that book. So yeah, that's like the second most meaningful thing to me. I haven't had anyone color in it since COVID. Um, since COVID, my social life I've been like a hermit. Yeah, and so like the final item I'm going to talk about, which ties everything together, is this like Scooby-Doo figurine. And it's probably means nothing to anyone watching, but to me this is like everything because this is like the first thing my dad ever bought me. He went to 1981 when Canada's Wonderland opened, which is that theme park I was talking about earlier where I bought that stuffed animal. He went to Canada's Wonderland. It was like the grand opening. His work sent him, so him and my mom went, and yeah, they bought me this Scooby-Doo, just like a plastic figurine. There's a little copyright on there from 1980. So this is the first thing they bought me that wasn't from Santa. This is something, my dad picked off a shelf just for me, and I just loved it. I was already into Scooby-Doo. I was, I was 5. I was 5 years old, maybe 6. And yeah, I just loved it. I was so grateful for it. And I knew this was special. So I had my regular toys, which I'd play with in the bathtub and everything. But this little guy, this just went for me when I was doing my adventuring. So when I was a kid, it was a different time in the 80s, man. It was cool. It was really cool. So yeah, this would be 1981. And I was allowed just to run around the neighborhood anywhere I wanted to go when I was, that little. And it's the classic trope, just be home when the streetlights come on, right? And if I'd go in the woods alone, I'd take this dog with me, and I'd take my real dog, and I just keep this in my pocket for like good luck. And then when I got older, I just, I got full-time jobs. So if I was in, substituting for a while at a school, I'd have this on my desk. On my desk at work, I'd have this. When I was bartending, I'd have it at the golf club with me on a shelf. At home, since I'm working at home, it's on my desk. It's just something that I've always kept with me. It means even more to me now that, my dad's passed. Because this is just the first thing I can remember him ever buying me. So, yeah, there you go. My top 3 meaningful Scooby-Doo items. If you've sat through this, thank you for watching. If you want to do something related to this, like your own top 3, I'd love to see that. I'd love to watch that. I love hearing people's stories. I'm more interested in people than I am myself. Again, I'm just doing this because I'm struggling. I'm not really struggling, but I'm just processing things. I just had to get this off my chest. I just had to share this with the internets, just put it out there. So yeah, thank you. I'll be back regular hours with my Scooby-Doo, still going every Saturday with the reviews. I'm hoping, I don't know if I can, but I'm hoping to start doing other videos like this, less gabby, less chit-chatty, less rambling, and more kind of precise about things, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care and bye.